Hello and welcome to another episode of the Trash Talk Podcast. I'm your host JJ. I'm with to have Sergej. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing fine myself. Do you want to acknowledge the elephant in the room? Well, you know.
I think you're bigger than me.
Oh god, this is a great start. You're here.
Yeah, in the flesh. I can actually touch you.
Don't. Okay, so today we're once again continuing a series that we started a while back, which we've tentatively titled Movie Workshop, where we talk about how we would turn a concept into a movie. And today's concept is Dungeons and Dragons. And I believe you said you didn't want to do a movie.
Yeah, I feel like it might be too short to really convey the feel of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
It might have to be an ongoing show, maybe with a lot of delays in between to really sell the feel.
You just schedule a new episode every month,
Yeah.
but sometimes it just doesn't come out and you have to wait another month.
Yeah, exactly.
Just be really authentic.
Exactly.
I hate it for obvious reasons, but it is true. It hurts because it's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so jokes aside, you actually want to do a series?
I think so, yeah.
And I guess we probably can't script the entire series. I mean, not that we ever went scene for scene anyways, but how would you approach that?
What exactly? The story?
Yeah, so I guess the first question that I gotta ask is, is this just a story set in, say, the Forgotten Realms that happens to feature a group that looks like an indie party? Are we doing a framing device where there's people sitting at the table, or you have even just voiceover comments from the players that are non-diegetic for the purpose of the story itself? Do we do an isekai? How do we approach this?
Okay, so what I'm thinking is we do it in the Forgotten Realms, of course. We don't have the setting as of the tabletop itself. We don't really do voiceovers from the players, but we have the characters talk out of character as the players.
Oh, okay.
And maybe even have the DM walk around the place, giving exposition, but being invisible to everyone else.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. That could work. Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of the tabletop more as a voiceover thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that could work either way. Because the other option is to go the isekai route, which there's an actual animated Dungeons & Dragons series that is already an isekai, and where there is already a character called the Dungeon Master who does tell the players what to do, basically. So I did want to recreate that exactly.
Okay, I see. I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wait, so with the isekai aspect, do the players get transported into the world, or how does it work?
Yeah, I think they're not necessarily players, they're just people from the real world that end up in, I mean, back then probably Dragonlance, I don't know, but in some D&D setting, and then they become, the barbarian and the wizard,
Okay, yeah.
I haven't seen it, I will say. I just know the reputation mostly. But that whenever we do these, my first thought is what already exists that fits the description, and how do we distinguish from it? So I didn't want to be okay, let's do the existing D&D movie, because while it was good, and it definitely in some ways captured the D&D party, I want to set it apart from that a little bit, and obviously the D&D show, I didn't want to okay, we'll do an isekai. It's well, first of all, that's already been done, and second of all, I don't know if that's necessary, is the other thing, because the experience of playing D&D is not the same as being dropped into the world of D&D.
Yeah.
And I think if we want to, actually, I think the tabletop idea is still the best, whether it is the characters actually saying it some main character, or whether it's just voiceover of someone playing the character. Presumably the same voice actor that would then also voice the character either way. That works, and I think that's a good way to set it apart from just being a fantasy series that happens to be set in the same setting as a lot of D&D adventures, right? Because if it's just it's the Forgotten Realms, or it's Dragonlance, or it's, I mean, even if it's something cooler like Eberron or Darklands, okay, it's still just the setting.
Yeah.
And so I think something like the D&D movie, D&D Honor Among Thieves, or the Legend of Vox Machina, the TV show based on Critical Role, those are not that what we just talked about. They're more sort of like there are antics that you would expect from a D&D party that maybe you wouldn't expect from a traditional fantasy adventurer, but it still is a traditional fantasy adventure where the characters just behave a little odd at times.
Yeah.
And what we're suggesting, I guess, is then that
characters behave very odd at all the times.
Yeah, and also there's like clearly comments that are like they're like non-diegetic sort of, but they still happen. And yeah, I think that is. How much should we play into the rules?
Probably quite a bit.
Like I probably wouldn't go so far as to say like roll for this, roll for that, because that's probably a little bit excessive. But at the same time, I think something like carrying capacity could be like I mean, not that most D&D players actually like consider that.
Yeah, we can have them carry some like ungodly amount of stuff in their backpack, just like being comically large, or as we in our party do, have a bicycle.
Yeah,
that just like somehow is able to carry everything.
I don't think we ever like logistically even consider the possibility that we actually carry a bicycle. It's just a joke. And there was this meme about the bicycle with the carrying capacity thing. But yeah, no, I do think it would be kind of funny to like lean into like you pick up one more gold coin. It's like, oh no, I can't. It's like,
yeah.
But at the same time, it's maybe like given that most people don't consider that during a party, it's maybe a little bit weird.
Mm-hmm.
I do think something like seems like the ranger keeps shooting, and someone in the voiceover DM goes like, "Hey, are you keeping off your arrows?" and then suddenly looks down and has no more arrows or something like that, like almost like a cartoon logic thing.
Yeah,
like that could probably work as a gag.
And then maybe retroactively the monster gets revived again.
That's maybe a little far, but I can definitely see how we could like do that a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or like counter forgets like a really important ability and we do actually like rewind a bit. But I think you probably don't want to overdo it because I mean I guess that's the other question, right? What's the genre, right? Is it just like a fantasy adventure thing that just happens to have some D&D gags in it, or is it like a full-on comedy that happens to be in a fantasy adventure setting?
Okay, so what I was thinking more of was like definitely leaning more heavily into comedy. Well, we could definitely make it more serious as well.
Yeah.
That could work.
No, because I'm thinking, obviously, if we want to hammer home the D&D aspect, that's probably going to be a lot of in the form of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's an outright comedy, then we can do things like, oh, let's rewind, the monster actually still lives because you didn't have as many arrows, right?
Yeah.
If we want it to be more serious, then that would undercut the tension, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can't do that. So I don't think we have to, like, pick a lane, right? Either one I think, is a valid way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to pick a lane. Because if you, like, tell the super serious story, like, you can, even in a serious story, you can have jokes on the sides, but if you then suddenly, like, rewind the boss fight or something, then that, I think, seriously, like, that's the verisimilitude, right? It is not realistic anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to have some grounding of where you can, like, believe the stakes.
Right.
So, either one's fair. We just have to pick a lane.
Mm-hmm.
Any preferences?
Well, like I said, I'm more leaning into comedy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think we probably should have this sort of as like a funny drama. I was thinking, right, where it's like there are stakes. We can make jokes.
Yeah.
But like let's not overdo it to where it undermines the stakes because I find that those shows that are like purely comedy. First of all the jokes have to land, otherwise it's just nothing. Mm-hmm. And second of all, I just find it less entertaining to watch, especially in long term, right? Like I'm not going to sit down and watch a season of Family Guy, right? I can sit down and watch like a season of Star Trek Lower Decks because it's still a Star Trek show that just happens to have a lot of jokes. Granted, seasons are probably also like half as long, but even with saying like 10 episodes instead of just a season, right? It's still the same idea where like, I can watch dramas much more than I can watch comedies. Like to sit down and watch seasons of something. So I think jokes are great, and I think we can definitely lean into that, especially in sort of the downtime moments. Right? Like if there's nothing particularly dramatic happening in that moment, we can lean into comedy more. But if we are in a dramatic situation, we can have gags, but we shouldn't have like something that undermines the scene. I think that's probably the best balance to strike.
Yeah.
And I mean, you could have entire episodes that are like leaning more into the one or the other, right? You could have like a episode where it's like dungeon crawling and there's like mini bosses or whatever, and it's like mostly very serious with some quips on the side, but not necessarily like any like bigger comedy bits. And then like another episode where it's just like the characters are in the town shopping and it's like comedy montages and like hijinks, and it's just like all comedy pretty much for an entire episode. I think you can do that. I mean, it's one thing is like a little bit tricky to start because you have to find an audience that's willing to watch that, and you probably would sell it as a comedy that just happens to have serious moments rather than selling it as a drama that happens to have comedic moments.
Yeah,
that's probably. I mean,
sets better expectations.
Like go back to the Star Wars to Star Trek thing, where like the Orville was supposed to be a comedy and was supposed to be like a Star Trek parody, but like over time it just basically became another Star Trek show that just happens to have some more funny moments than an actual Star Trek show, and it's really good. But I think if you go into it like expecting another Star Trek, maybe. Probably making a lot of references that you don't get, but
yeah,
I don't know a good example of like the comedy seriousness thing that like you could relate to. But yeah, no, I think like I think striking the balance probably makes sense. Okay, so I think we answered a lot of the core questions, right? Like we talked about like how we treat the D&D aspect.
Yeah.
We talked about how serious is the show going to be. I guess it given that it's a show, we could ask like some of the more regular show questions, right? Like how, like episode length, number of episodes per season, like serialized or episodic.
Right. So I think serialized would make sense.
Yes.
Because I mean, if a movie is like already, in my opinion, too short to tell a whole story, I think an episode would be even worse.
Yes. I mean, you could request of the week, but it probably wouldn't.
Would be very rushed.
Yeah, you could probably do that for like a season, and then you have to like get into more serious storytelling to like keep the audience hooked as well.
Yeah. The other stuff about like season length, or episode length, I don't think I can answer. I'm not really that much into this.
I will say it probably differs as well. If you have a serialized story, it probably doesn't matter as much. Because the end points of the episodes, I mean, an episode still should like tell like have a story with a beginning, middle, and end to like a degree, but if it is part of a larger arc, then it doesn't matter as much, I think, how long the individual episodes are and how long it is. I think the other question that I maybe should have asked earlier, live action or animated?
Live action, I think.
Okay. In my mind, it was animated, but I can see this go both ways. I think I said voice actor earlier as well, which kind of gave that away. But
I hadn't even considered animated. That might be good as well, yeah.
Because I think for like if we're doing the gags of like, oh, like all of a sudden your arrows are gone because you didn't count them or something, I think it probably works better than animation. Because if someone keeps drawing arrows and like the quiver has the amount of arrows every shot, it probably looks a bit sloppier, but in animation you could probably get away with it more easily. I mean, it's just an example, but I think of course, budget, right? Because actually having like a good looking fantasy series is gonna be expensive.
Oh yeah.
In live action. And B, I think the gags probably mostly work better in animation.
Could be.
So that would be argument for animation. I mean, obviously live action is probably cooler if you can pull it off, but I do think both have pros and cons, and ultimately, it's not entirely necessary to decide. I mean, obviously, if you were to actually make it, you have to decide. But I think whatever we're planning could work either way. It just might be a thing we want to decide on.
Yeah. Huh. There was some other thing that I wanted to bring up, but I kind of forgot it for now.
I'm sorry, I talked too much.
It's fine. It's fine. So, is there anything else from your side then?
I mean, I was going to say the episode length, I think, depends a little bit on... If it's live action, you probably want to go 45 minutes. If it's animated, you could probably go 22 as well. Now, there's not like a strict rule, but especially with it being more dramatic, I think that's just like how the pacing tends to work out. Now, a lot of the more like adult animation type of stuff has been going more in the 45-minute direction as well lately, so it's not unheard of. But I think that's generally where I would probably go. And given the modern TV environment, you're probably thinking like maybe like 10 episode seasons. Now I could totally see this going 22, but I mean certainly not if it's live action because budget. Just like realistically, like most of the 22 episode series these days are like, you know, Law and Order. It's like, okay, it's about New York cops. It's literally filmed in New York, right? Like there's not much they have to do in terms of like touching it up. Sure, there is like a decent amount of post production that goes into it, but like compared to like a sci-fi or a fantasy show, I think you could probably get away with having like a 10 episode, like 45-minute, like 10-45-minute episodes to tell like your season arc, and then basically go on a new adventure in the next season. They're like character-wise continues and the world continues from there, but it is sort of like a new adventure every season.
Yeah.
So that...
But that will make sense.
Yeah, because you do sometimes have the same party for another season. And the funny thing is, if one of the actors leaves between seasons, you just replace them with a different character.
Yeah.
And it like a different player joins the group. Like it's fine. It happens. Right? So that actually like has an inbuilt explanation for it.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask. Do we like in universe, I guess, align the episodes, like starts and ends, with the sessions, with the play sessions? Or do we have them like disjointed?
I mean, I guess the other question is, like, does it matter when the sessions start or not? Like, because depending on how much we use the table talk gimmick, like, you could just do it as if like every season is a single session, even though it realistically wouldn't be, just like time-wise, and it probably wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you probably don't want to overly rely on the gag of like, oh, what was that? That was like 2 weeks ago. Like what was that all about again? Right? Like you don't want to like do that type of gag too much. I think you can definitely, and maybe given that it's a,
but we could maybe do that for like people carrying items that they forget about that are like useful for some puzzle.
Yeah, but I think you get this. I think you get the sense of passage of time more so from the in-universe stuff than from the table talk.
Yeah.
So it probably doesn't matter that you like strictly have like the thing, although it would be great as a recap in the beginning of the episode, right? So, like previously on, instead of doing you're like,
right,
like everyone remember what we did last time, and then you have the actual like the players, and at the end like talk like, oh, we did this, like one player, and then the other player jumps in like, oh, and we did that, and then maybe like the DM has some small corrections when they like remember it wrong. Like I think that could be a cool gimmick that you just do like every single episode, like starts. I mean, that's the first one.
Yeah,
starts with like, oh, that's also how I do the character introductions, right? Like every player is like, oh, I am playing this character, and like, so yeah, I think doing the recaps that way, where so I guess then you would align the sessions effectively with the episodes. Which should also speak for longer episodes, so like the 45-minute more so because, or really the indie sessions even longer than that, but you can assume that things are cut out. Because again, we don't show the rolls, for example.
Oh yeah.
So
rolls, and also like just like the downtime in between.
Yeah, like we're not gonna like have like, oh, toilet break. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Obviously. So I don't think it makes sense to be like 45 minutes and then just say like that's a session, and then again having the like, oh yeah, and then you can in the recap session have some gags as well about like, oh god, it's been like 3 months since we last played and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, you don't really need to know this as a viewer, but I think that also adds to like, you want to actually watch the previously on segments even if you already remember what happened, because they have some gags in their own right?
Yeah.
Maybe they don't advance the story necessarily because they really shouldn't, so they are skippable, but there is some bonus content in there for those that actually like bother to watch them.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool gimmick. So yeah, I guess we do align it with sessions.
That would be great. Another question is like, I don't know how feasible that would be, but would it be possible to vary the episode lengths inside the season?
I mean, if it's on streaming, then that's definitely possible. If it's on linear television, then not. I mean, it depends a little bit, right? If you want to say like you want to sell in syndication later, then you probably want to have a somewhat consistent episode season count, episode length. That's the one.
Yeah.
But on streaming, like a lot of shows do vary quite a bit, right?
Really?
Like sometimes you have like a 50-minute episode and then a 30-minute episode thereafter.
Oh damn!
It's actually not that unusual for the first episode, especially to be a bit longer, and then like all of a sudden you're like, wait, why are there all like half-hour episodes? Despite the fact there's more like the 45-minute episode kind of show. Sometimes you do notice it, but streaming shows do actually vary quite a bit.
Because then that might play into that as well. Could probably do some gags out of that.
Yeah.
Because usually you also don't have like a set length for sessions either.
I mean, it depends. Some groups do like play like every week or once a month, and they have like a fixed date and time. And like if someone doesn't show up, then that's that. Which I was thinking about, but I think we probably shouldn't do that. As the new thing was like, oh yeah, one player didn't show up, and then like all of a sudden it's like the DM voicing the character or something, and they don't participate as much. It's like, yeah, it's probably too much.
Yeah.
Because I think all of the gags aside, you probably still want to tell like a somewhat sensible like fantasy adventure story that just happens to have a lot of the D&D flavoring over top of it.
Yes.
And so I think you always want to, like with the gags, you want to focus on ones that just like add to the experience without distracting from it. Right? So like a fun gag is cool, but if it ends up making the story worse, then we have to take it out.
Mm-hmm.
You're still laughing about the funny gags that you're thinking of?
Yeah. I thought of some. Like if we make the seasons like slightly longer, maybe you could do a gag where it like starts off the first 2 episodes like with one party, one adventure. They just like die, like TPK, and just like start over after episode 3, like a new party, and that is actually the actual story that goes to the end.
That's basically the plot of Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad, where like it starts on one team, and like I think all but one of them die, and it actually like turns out that the other team was the ones that the story's actually about.
Yeah.
The other thing would be the classic like one character dies,
and
then like a different, fairly similar character shows up, voiced by the same person, and it's just like they just basically built the same character again.
Yeah.
Like that is probably like it's like, oh, they have a different character name, but like you know, they have the same abilities. And it's like, so I think we could do something like that as well. Now you have to be a bit careful because character death should be meaningful.
Yeah.
While at the same time, it's just like a really classic D&D trope. So I kind of want to do it at least once. And I mean, I guess as far as the characters are concerned, like their friend still died, right? Like it's like just because someone new joined the party that happens to be a lot like that person doesn't necessarily undercut it too much. I think that is also another bit that we could definitely like do at least once. I think doing a TPK is maybe a bit excessive. Like you could maybe do it between seasons.
Yeah.
Where like in the first episode of the new season, there's a TPK and then it's a new party.
What if it's a funny one? Like the whole party dying while trying to chase a cow, for example.
Never happened before.
Not at all.
So I think you could do that more as like a first 5-minute kind of gag. I think having 2 entire episodes with one party and then killing them off is probably like it's one of those things where your audience gets invested and then you're like, well, fuck you, this is not actually what we're doing. It's going to be a little rude. Because you always want to think about that, right? Where it's like the audience just get invested and then you're like pulling the rug out of them, and like it's funny if you do it like 5 or 10 minutes in. It's less funny if you do it like an hour and a half into it.
Fair, that's a fair argument.
I do think you could do the thing where, like, between seasons, either like you have a TPK or like the players just don't want to play the campaign anymore, and just like it's like a whole new thing where like the same cast, like as in like the same voice cast. I mean, again, I'm thinking of it as animation still, which I think some of those gags, like having a character that like maybe looks a bit different, but it's like, still the same abilities, like works better. But it's not literally the same physical actor portraying them, but like a different model, but it's still like the same voice.
It would be even funnier if it is like live action, but the voice is still the same. Yeah,
but I think that's one of those things that's just like unnecessarily tedious to like dub over a live action character. It's gonna sound a bit off most of the time. It's like I get why like it would be great in theory, but it's probably not great for like if you want to like do that for an entire season or something. I mean, I guess we never answered the question, but I'm still leaning animation for this one.
Yeah. I guess.
And you could even have the thing where like the character gets replaced and it's like, instead of the orc barbarian, it's now dwarf barbarian or something, but it's like, it's still barbarian, it's still the same subclass. It's just, different, I believe they're called species now. And terrible name.
Yeah.
And, it's that thing. I mean, Right. We happen to know someone who used to play a dwarven fighter and then played a human fighter, or the other way around.
Do we?
Yeah, Alex did. You weren't there, right? When we played with Alex?
No, I wasn't there.
You weren't there?
No.
Huh. We played a game with Alex once. Well, twice.
Yeah, I know. You told me.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah. Some people just,
Yeah. I did actually play a game with Alex once, but it was like a year ago.
Huh.
It was one session. We didn't get far.
Yeah.
We barely made it out of the inn because Alex wanted to start a fight with the barkeep.
Yeah, it sounds like Alex.
Yeah.
I still technically have some of the stuff from one of his characters. Because I lose his corpse.
Yep.
And then, technically, the campaign that we played there, which never lasted very long, I think we had like 3 sessions in total maybe, ended up being converted into the campaign that we're playing now. And while I did play a different character, my previous character actually ended up, I think he was mind controlled or something, but he was basically an antagonist.
Okay.
And we didn't know that. Like, I mean, as a player, I was like, that doesn't seem like he would pay. But like, as a character, I'm like, oh, okay. He's not one of the bad guys. So, as you want to do, I stabbed him to death. And so, I then looted him. So which I did by just literally grabbing my old inventory sheet, which I still had, and just slotting that in with my other inventory sheet. Because, I know exactly what loot that person is on himself.
Yeah.
I built the character. And so, that character still had some of the stuff from Alex's old character. And so my current character in our current D&D campaign still has stuff from my previous character from the previous campaign and from Alex's character from that campaign.
That's great. I didn't know that before.
I think you might have actually... Oh, right, yeah, because you joined the campaign after... Like, you didn't even join that campaign from the beginning, right? Because...
No.
So, that is why... Like, I think when I killed my own previous character, like, you weren't even there yet. So,
yeah, no.
So, yeah, I might have even given you some of the stuff at some point, because I might have given, like, probably like a dagger or something, but, like some like, weapon or armor that I still had. Because, like, someone had, like, 5 daggers, and, like, 2 rapiers, and, like, 2 sets of studded leather armor, and, like, I think a regular leather armor as well, and then... I have way too much stuff.
All in your backpack, of course.
Yeah, I guess that's the other gag, right?
Yeah.
It's just a regular backpack, and you just like keep pulling shit out of it. It's like, how's it all fit in there? It's like, is that a bag of holding?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I guess that's where it's like the DM's like, maybe you should get rid of some of that. Yeah, no, I don't think we have. We didn't really talk about plot at all, but I think it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, for the actual show, it does matter to have a plot, but
you can pick anything.
That's the thing, right? And again, it's probably going to be different thing every season anyway. So I think having the tropes and the format is probably more important than actually figuring out the plot. And I think we actually came up with something working.
Yeah.
And something I would arguably watch. I mean, again, I do already watch Legend of Vox Machina, and I watched the movies, the Honor Among Thieves. So clearly I'm going to watch this as well if it were to come out.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else you want to add, or do we want to move on to our facts of the week?
Yeah, let's move on.
Well,
yeah, right. My fact. Wait, what was it again?
This is great.
Wait, let me look that up. Sorry.
Well prepared as always.
Yes. Okay, right. So, apparently, Earth's magnetic field was twice as strong in Roman times as it is now.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's about to flip.
Yeah, about to.
Well, about to in like a.
I mean,
history perspective. Yeah. It's
the flip itself happens over the course of like a couple thousand years.
Yeah, but at some point the North Pole is gonna start moving a lot more than it already is, and then at some point they are gonna switch places, and the South Pole is gonna be in the North.
It's not even clear how the change happens. It might be that the poles themselves move. It might be that like the poles become unstable. Like you have multiple North Poles, multiple South Poles, all scattered around, and they just kind of stabilize back, but reversed.
Well, I mean, at least we don't really rely on compasses that much anymore.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, the Earth's magnetic field is probably not that important. I mean, the fact that it has one is very important for, like, protecting us from radiation and stuff like that. But, like, arguably, like, the poles are not that important to us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Birds are probably going to love that.
Ooh, that's going to be weird. Also some fish, right?
That I don't know, but it's very possible.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yep.
But actually, like, they will have a couple thousand years to adapt, so it'll probably sort itself out.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it has happened before, right?
Yeah.
And I think there were birds. There were birds before, and I think there were birds after, so, like, I think we're good. Unless, of course, you believe that birds are fake and they're all dinosaur instruments.
Yeah. That.
Don't ask me how they lay eggs. Like, it makes sense if you live in a city and you've only ever seen pigeons.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, chickens? Like, on a farm?
Yeah, no, chickens are the only ones that are actually real.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I can, like, find some other birds that lay eggs, right? Like, obviously, that theory is ludicrous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I mean, I had actually heard about the thing with the magnetic pole, but the fact of the matter is, it just doesn't really matter. Like, compasses work better, which was more relevant back then.
Yeah.
I don't know if the radiation shielding is also weaker now.
Maybe technically, but it doesn't matter too much.
Yeah.
Like, one thing for sure is that, like, back then, auroras wouldn't travel as far towards the equator as they do now. So maybe electric shielding in those cases would have been better.
I mean, cancer rates are up, but it's not necessarily because of space radiation. It's probably because of all the other shit.
Yeah. Also, I don't think they really cared that much about the electric shielding. I don't think they had much electronics back then.
I meant more so as the magnetic field chilling us from space radiation that can cause cancer, technically.
Yeah.
Like high energy particles. And the like.
Yeah. Although there are particles that actually get accelerated by the magnetic field.
I guess that's the other thing for us that's gonna matter. If it weakens further, that could actually like mess with electronics.
Yeah.
Just because of like particles, not necessarily because of the field itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my fact.
Yeah, I want to hear a much more disturbing fact of the week.
Not really, but go ahead.
So apparently, it was not that uncommon of a practice for medical students to do pelvic exams on anesthetized patients without their consent or knowledge, just for medical training.
Yikes!
So I have a lot of stats here, a lot of percentages for the most part, but apparently a study done in 2003 found that 90% of Pennsylvania medical students had done pelvic exams on anesthetized patients during their gynecological rotation. Now, those don't necessarily know whether consent was given, it said, and 67% in a different study stated they had never or rarely witnessed explicit consent being given. Now, because the students don't necessarily come in at the beginning of the exam, it's not entirely clear if there was consent given or not. But I think there was another study that said that, I think it was in France, they had like they had like still like a third to a fifth of cases, a fifth to a third actually technically, of cases not having given consent. And so yeah, the US outlawed it on the federal level, like I think this year. But in 2024, the United States Federal Department of Health and Human Services banned hospitals from performing non-consensual breast, pelvic, prostate, and rectal exams for educational and training purposes by medical students, nurse practitioners, or physician assistants. And similarly, France in 2015. Those are the only countries that have information on.
That is way too recent.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Man.
I heard about this, I was like, oh shit, that's gotta be a fact of the week. That's like,
yeah?
Huh?
Man, that's not cool.
You know, facts of the week are basically just like statements where you go, huh? But sometimes it's like, oh, that's interesting. And someone's like, huh? Why did they do that?
Yeah.
I mean, for educational purposes. And apparently, most dogs are like, Yeah, I don't see the problem. While most medical students are like, I don't think we should be doing this. So there's a thing where apparently ethical erosion, I think it's called, where if you're like so used to it over time, it's just like, it's just normal. So there's that. And yeah, that was my fact of the week, which gets us to our halftime show, which, believe it or not, squared on.
Woo!
I can be over there. I can be over here. Yeah, we just like hastily split ourselves apart to just keep the setup working. So we start as per always with laser.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of letters. And tonic. That's not a lot of letters.
Yeah, that is the opposite of a lot of letters.
That's a lot of letters. Okay, so we have 3 for the first row and 1 for the first column.
Yeah. Huh.
No N's and I's. We have absolutely nothing for the current row or column, except that we know there are no S's, no N's, and no I's. Which is not a lot of information, even as far as negative information goes.
Yep. I mean, there's a third of a chance that the first row also contains a C. Just judging by the remaining squares that it could go
Actually, it's technically larger than 1/3 chance, because there could be multiple C's.
True. Yep.
I'm sure you could actually figure out...
Great insight.
You could probably figure out what the exact odds are. Oh god, that probably depends on the commonality of C overall.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god, yeah, let's not. And also, it technically does depend on the other hints that we've gotten, because if it can't contain an E, then maybe there are more words that proportionally with C and E, and with C and without.
That gets complicated.
Statistics are rarely as obvious as they seem to be.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways.
Also positioning of the letter as well. That.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's not go into that.
Okay. I guess the question now, given that we have absolutely no positive information and very little negative information, is most of what letters do we want to test? I think it's probably the best we can do right now.
Right.
I would also argue for U.
Yeah, U is a good letter. What were the other ones? M, I think, is also pretty common.
P, maybe.
Yeah.
Q.
Definitely, yeah.
Is Q the least common letter in the English language?
Yeah, I don't know. I think from the letters we had like 2 of them that didn't appear in the...
Yes, but also your statistical analysis was flawed because it made an assumption about which words are legal.
Yeah.
That turned out to actually underestimate the number of legal words, so it's possible that there are no letters that can't appear at all. It might have been J, the other one.
I'm pretty sure with the just few dozen millions of solved board positions that my strip found, I think those already contain every letter. At least once.
Yeah. So what do I want to go? Want to go for like purge or something? No, R and E are not that useful. What else is it? No, that's 5. Okay. E in second to last will be more sensible than in last. If we do want to reuse it. Unless we want to get negative information, I guess, which also would be useful, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, purge seems quite fine.
R in third, how do we feel about that? I guess it's a center.
Yep. I mean, it gives us a bit of information on the R.
We somehow still hit an E. Obviously, we can have a good guess where the G might go. We also have some. We need. Oh gosh. We have 2 rows and 2 columns that still need E's, plus one that we actually already found. I mean, our middle first column middle would make sense. I mean, like, probabilistically, there's always a thing where it's like, these are the most probable spots for those to go. Are they correct? Who's to say? We could have tried something with the C in retrospect, to limit that even further. As you pointed out, there's only, like, a small number of sets where they can already go.
I mean, we can do that still.
Yes.
If we do that as the 3rd spot. Or 1st. 1st works as well.
We could also try to actually, like, solve the column. It's not that likely. I mean, we only have 2 letters to go off of, but, I mean, it needs an E. If we're putting the G there, then this seems like the most likely spot. Well, actually, right, this row can use an R, this row can use a U, and there's nothing saying that this row can't have a P. Oh no, wait, we can't have P's in general, right? I was about to say we could make a Purgian.
Purge?
I don't think that works. It's just someone saying courage where it has a purge.
Yeah.
I mean, there are probably like Surge, right? Like there are other options there. As a matter of fact, it literally says Surge down the middle here.
Oh yeah, true. Want to try that?
I mean,
it wouldn't give us hints.
It's very redundant if it's wrong.
Yeah.
And if it's right, then it still doesn't give us hints. I mean, we could do something like, I was gonna say something like source, but it doesn't quite work. But like somewhere we actually like get a scene there instead of a G, like that in general would be a thing that would work. But obviously, source is a bit too long.
What are our hints on A's and S's?
Well,
not that great.
First row and not first column.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying you want to try something? You want to try like sauce?
Chase?
I think it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I mean chase starts with a C, which is better than. I mean the place. So the place I put the C actually would be fine. It's just the place where I put the S is not as practical as where you say put chase.
Yeah.
Also sauce. No, sauce would have worked as well. Yeah, it just doesn't have the H of chase. I mean, yeah, we did one specific test for A. We did one test for C, and for S, the E is not the most informative thing in the world, but I don't think we can really improve on that really without changing the word completely. Wait, chase is a word? Is just chast a word?
Could be. I mean, doesn't hurt to try.
I was gonna say what we have about T. Yeah, I didn't think so.
We hit another E. Look at that.
No, actually, I mean, we already knew that the row needed one. We already have the one in the column.
Yeah.
So not really any. It doesn't have to be anything new about these. The A is interesting though. We have an extra A.
Yeah.
And it has only one spot that it can go, right? It has to be there.
Wait, do we?
No A's there.
Oh yeah.
No A's there. No A's there.
Yeah.
It's the only place in the column in the row. It's the only place where it can go. Actually, speaking of the column, that should be pretty strict as well. Then, I mean, you kind of want to go there, right? Yep. It can't go in these two, and obviously can't go there. It could go in last as well, but it probably goes in there.
Yeah, AE sounds kind of rough.
Yeah, EA is more common. Yeah. We have a C in the first column that could go in the first row. It could go in this. It can't go in the second. It could go in the third one, but we did probabilistically put R in there, and it can't go in last. It has at least a 50% chance of being there. probably higher than 50. As a matter of fact, we did test S's a bit more, which we determined this as a more likely spot for the S to go.
So class.
I mean, yes. Yeah, I don't think we can put a. I don't think we'll put a vowel there, and I don't think classed works either.
Yeah.
Like, it works as a suffix, but I don't think it works as like a full word.
And clasp doesn't work because no P's.
Clasp doesn't work because no P's.
Yeah.
I'm happy with class. That works.
Mm-hmm.
We used a lot of the positive pins that we have already. There's only 2 spots in this row that the E can go. Which is, I mean, assuming the G is correct, there's only 2 spots, I think.
Yeah.
And we have the A, we have the G.
I mean, I would assume the G is correct, because I don't think it really would fit in the first row. And assuming the S is correct, SG.
4D.
Corgi?
Oh, the first column. I was thinking, sorry, the first row you said.
Yeah, first.
It wouldn't fit in the first row, right? You were going for the column.
Yeah. And assuming the S is correct there, SG doesn't sound too likely. Third spot, the G can't go. Anyway.
Yeah, so probabilistically, it makes the most sense to go there. So the G is probably correct. The A is definitely correct. So we have 2 spots that the E can go.
Mm-hmm.
Both of which seem sensible at first glance, and we don't have any other letters that we need in that row.
Yep.
Ugh. That is at least a little frustrating.
Kind of. We still have the U that could go in, 3 spots, I think?
Second row could be...
Yeah, second row.
Could be first, or could be the last 2, I guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, SUEA sounds unlikely.
Yeah.
I mean, this column could still spell out Serge.
Could.
Or this one could spell out something like cure. I mean, obviously, it should literally be cure, but... Church? No, that doesn't work. It would be Kirch. Kirch. Curbs. As in multiple curbs, or as in he curbs. He, she, it curbs. Yeah, but I mean, I couldn't help but notice that it still could say Surge. What about the T? Can't be in first, can't be in second. It's unrestricted otherwise.
Oh, yeah.
But STEA? Steel, I guess.
Steam.
Steam. Steer.
Yeah.
Steep.
Oh, no, please.
Okay, so T there works.
Stead.
And then the one before, stage. No, stage is not allowed because it can't be an A. Stage, stoge, and stooge. I don't think... I mean, stooge works with double O, but not with U.
Stoge.
Stoge. Stoog. Steig. I'm tempted to say it's not T there.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I mean, T is it's whatever. I think that could definitely work. That one also still needs an E.
Mm-hmm. Which could go there, yeah.
I mean, seems like a good guess. Because also the row, as I said, only has 2 spots for it anyways. And it needs 1. And the column has more. It has 3 spots here.
Mm-hmm.
But it still seems like the most sensible place what it would be there. Which gives us another one that could... No, I don't. I was going to say it could be stage. It's a mix of letters in my head.
Stega.
A...
Like a Stegosaurus.
I thought you liked to play Stonic on your Stega Genesis.
No.
Okay.
What else do we have? Any positive hints?
I mean, second row we talked about, but we never placed any of them. I think the column ones we did almost all of them, or all of them even. Wait, A, E, C, R. Yeah, no, I think we did all the column ones. And the only row one that we didn't do is second row.
Oh yeah, that's not a lot of hints.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, I guess we are literally guessing the last column / row, so we could go for like the Steam variety or something like that. I mean, obviously it's not very useful if it's right, almost. I mean, it could give us some hints for in the row still, but it's not going to be that informative. But we could guess it.
Yeah, we could also try to replace some letters that we are sure about, so we could test something else.
I mean, yes, I guess keeping the S would make sense though.
Yeah. T would also, I think, make sense.
I mean, yeah, T is like the one that we're really trying to confirm. Yeah. E we don't have to do because we literally have it already. A we don't have to do if we want more hints, but we do have to do it if we want to like actually like get the minimum number of guesses.
Yeah.
If you want to actually like get the column right.
Where's our O hints? We only have one.
Well, yeah, it's just the one.
And we still need one. So like
somewhere in there. It's not going to be in the top left corner. Probably.
Yeah.
And it can't be in the second row or column, so it just puts in the 2 or 3. Oh, right, or there. I was thinking about those. Actually, weird question, but like, what letter even goes there? Because if you think about it, it would have to be a vowel, right? Between C and R?
Could be an H.
Like like in Christ. Yeah.
Yeah, or Christ.
Okay, so it could be an H. It can't be O or A. It kind of wants to be U almost, right?
Yeah.
I could technically work. It can't be E because the column doesn't allow E. The row doesn't allow A or O. So it really is down to Y seems like a stretch. I, U, and H.
Yeah.
It really feels like it wants to be U. Given that the row still needs one. And then the question, right, becomes, like, can you still fit an O in there? Again, we can't have A's or E's at all. I feel like it wants to be Curry.
Oh, that could be.
Although, words that are with Y, right, is the counterpoint to that.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think. Because it can't be anything with cure. Because it can't be an E. I mean, I guess I did say curbs earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Which is still technically an option. As is curls with an L. No, never mind. No L's. Curbs.
No L's though?
Because of the column at the top left, it says no L's. So it can be curls. It could be curbs. It could technically be curry, although again, starting with word with a Y still seems a little suspect.
Could be curvy.
Could be curvy. I mean, that runs the same problem as curry, but yeah. Ooh. Huh. Interesting point as well. Whichever letter we do put there also needs to be able to start this word for the row. Which, I mean, starting with a V or an R or a B is not categorically a problem, but having an ega means that do we need a second vowel there? I mean, because V and R are not necessarily naturally followed by another consonant. Like B sometimes, right? You could have like, I mean, Blega isn't that really a word, but like at least Sounds like one, right?
Yeah.
But like Braga. I mean, it could be like another A. No, it literally can't be. It also can't be U. It wouldn't be O, would it? I? Doesn't sound like a thing. I think this might have to start with a double consonant. I don't know if it does actually have to start that way, but...
Like an O would technically fit there, right?
Actually, no.
No.
Column says no O's, user A's. Or, wait. Are we still talking about this one, or are we talking about this one?
This one. This one.
Yeah, that one could technically have an O, yes.
Yes.
That's one of the two spots. Yeah, that's the problem, right? Kuro, but like,
yeah, that doesn't seem.
And then like what with the other option, like Curlo. It doesn't really sound like it either, right? I guess that's the original thing of why I went into this column, right? It's like, if we can definitively say it's not O, then we have a good idea where the O goes. Well, we have 4 options, basically.
Yeah.
Well, realistically fewer. I feel like if it isn't down there, then it probably goes there.
Could be. Could be one to the left.
Yeah, that one doesn't sound too bad either. Because, like, EAO obviously is not happening.
Mm.
And ending in EO seems possible, but I don't know if it seems probable. Oh! If you do want to put the O there, the row could be Omega.
Yes, that was what I was aiming at.
I mean,
yeah.
It took me a while, but yeah, I got there in the end. I mean, I like that. It's just that, okay, wait, the R is there because both the row and the column want one in general. Okay, the U is there because the row wants one, and with the R and the C being there, it makes sense. And the C is a good guess, probably. Like, I'm not gonna doubt that too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the problem is, right, like, the O could be completely correct, while the U and R are just wrong, which is not very reassuring as far as possibilities go.
Yeah. Wanna try guessing, like, going for the last word? Like the current guess, basically?
Yeah, do you want to do like a Steam thing, or do you want to do like a completely different thing? I mean, obviously...
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure about the S, like, that we should try that. A bit undecided on the T as a second letter, because we would definitely know that one of them is false, will not yield much.
Yeah, I mean, this is like good to know if it's correct, because then we don't have to doubt where it is, but yeah. The problem is if we want to test for the T and the A and the S. Well, actually, we don't need to test for the A. So, okay, but I was going to say, because then there's not a lot of variations we can do.
Yeah, but I do want to try the O as the third letter.
I mean, we could do storms. Storm, singular. Storm.
Yeah. But also R's, like, we will miss both of them, definitely.
Oh yeah, because they're not allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
P's are also very handy there, but also not in the grid at all.
So you want to go some STO.
Yeah.
Okay. And then bonus points if that's an M, I guess. Or an L.
Honestly, yeah.
Any of the ones that could go after ST.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Yeah, I think I just said something like store. No, something like that. Storm, I said, and yeah, store, storm, store, cried like, yeah. R is so useful. Stole.
Yeah, stoke.
But what do we know about elves? I mean, I guess we know what the one in the first row is mostly it, right? Yeah. We don't know anything about K's. So, it's basically no difference if whether we guess stole or stoke, I think, depending on what you think is more likely overall. I guess the E guess is also not amazing, because we have some pretty good ideas where the E's go.
Then how about stocks?
Would have to be stock singular, right? Isn't it CK?
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming it still works. As a matter of fact, no, we did figure out where our C went, right?
Wait, isn't there also stock with just K?
There might be. I don't know if that. I don't know actually. I think stock is in stock trading. I think is with CK, right? And then stock as in like a basis for food, like that I think is also CK.
I think so.
So,
I
can't actually think of a STOK run of hand. The problem with CK is obviously that we run into the same problem where like the C is definitely useless.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah, there's also stove.
Stove.
Yeah.
But we haven't tested V. It's
again E.
I mean the E's not optimal. Yeah. I mean it's the same thing as like stole and stoke, right? It's like just as no stove, which is arguably worse. Actually, I don't know. V's more common than you'd think. Is it more common than K? I don't know. I was gonna say stuff, but that's a U, not an O. And we can't actually do U. That is not allowed. Yeah, I mean the question is like, is there an STO word that doesn't at least waste one letter? I mean, we can still use one of the ones that does use one letter, waste one letter. But if all of them do it anyways, then we might as well. Stows.
Stows?
That's in he stows it away.
Oh yeah.
STOWS? That should work.
True.
I mean, again, W not necessarily my favorite letter to put, but I don't think any of them are like guaranteed wasted.
Yeah. Hey.
That's very much what we expected. No W's.
Mm-hmm.
The S is only the one we already found. So we did find that the O goes in one of the two spots that we already suspected it most likely goes. We now know for a fact that it cannot go in here or there or there. So no bottom row O's, which is somewhat useful as information.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it also can't go there. So it's just there or there. And wait, the row needs one. And it can't go there. It can't go there.
Could be the R. Like where we have the R right now.
It technically could be. So it's not a guaranteed one, but it's like very likely there.
Yes.
Which we suspected, but at least it's good to know. Also, we know the S and T are correct.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like hint-wise would have been more useful for them to be wrong almost, but like I'm still glad we have them though. So
it's gonna be steel or steam.
Yeah.
Or stead.
Yeah, it's stead, right? Steed would be double E. I mean, it's
yeah.
Either way, like if there are two homographs, it wouldn't really help anyways. But yes. Also, what is the second to last?
Or it could be steak.
It could be steak, yeah.
And there's quite a lot of them.
What about the second to last columns? It's like smog, slog. Like I'm not really seeing anything obvious. Stoge. Stoge? Doesn't make it any better. Stoge. Stoge. Skog. Skoge. Spoge. Spoge.
Yeah, no P.
Smoge. I meant B.
Oh.
Smog. I mean, M almost feels like it makes the most sense. Like smog, but with an extra E. But it still has the extra E. It feels like it makes the most sense out of all of them. And wording an MT does definitely work. Like exempt. MPT? No, that's actually not correct. I think words ending in MT works, right?
MP? Clamp?
MT?
MT.
I was saying, like, out of all of the options I tried, this seems most like a word.
Oh, yeah, right. MT. Exempt? No, that's MPT.
I believe that's literally what I said wrong.
Yeah. Fuck.
The same example as well. Huh. Yeah, there is still technically a possibility of the G just being wrong.
Yes. But then it would likely be where we have the M right now.
Yeah. And it could be score. Or skull.
Or is clags a thing?
Well, then we'd also need an S in the column still. I guess could be in second. But then we'll start with GS. Which seems like a stretch.
Yeah. That it would be.
So the S
seems pretty... yeah.
Fairly good. Although... if it doesn't... The row now does not no longer need an S there, and it could be there still. But I don't know that that would make anything better, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't love guessing words. It just sounded like they maybe could be words. If it was the next one we would have to guess, I would just say, like, let's just type it in, see if it's a word.
Yeah.
And then I would solve it. But, like, we can't do that, and it doesn't really seem like a word that much. It just seems like it just seems least wrong, but it doesn't necessarily seem right. One thing that I didn't consider is putting an extra vowel there. I don't think it helps. Sog? How would I pronounce that? Swog? Swog. I don't think so. Siog? Oh, that seems worse. Siog? I don't love any of those options.
No, all of them are kind of rough.
My main problem is that the G is, like, not quite set.
Yep.
But also, like, seems mostly set. Like, class seems like a pretty good guess. And even if it isn't class, it's class, okay?
Yeah.
The G is not going to go there.
Okay, so just for, like, just as a sanity check, SGO something E. Is that a possibility?
It sounds like it would be, right? Because I mean, I said score, and it sounds like score, but it's like,
Yeah.
It's not, but like gore is a word, and score with a C is a word. And I was like, skull? Yeah. Scone? Scout? I was gonna say scope, but again, that's a C.
Yeah.
I don't know if SG works. It sounds like it works because it sounds like SC when you try to say it.
Yeah. Okay. Other wild idea. What if the O is wrong?
Well, then the O needs to be where the R is in the row, as you said yourself.
Yep.
Which could work. Then the R would be one lower. Like encourage.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of anything that would fit necessarily. Court. No T's.
Also, I think court has the
OU, not UO. Okay, UO is actually kind of dubious, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, the U doesn't have to be there, though.
That's also true.
But we could just like completely reconfigure this and go like U, fuck you, O, and then the R could even go there.
Yeah.
And then now the O there is obviously it's saying Surge again. As a matter of fact,
it's probably right.
Because
yeah,
if it's not there, probably Surge again. And then the R here could be here.
Mm-hmm.
Could be like crown. Well, it can't because no W, but or it could go there. Like in well, yeah, right? I mean, crown and proud both of them work because of a lack of W's, which is normally not a problem that I have. It feels like that is the right position for the R to go if the O is there.
I think so, yeah.
We already have the T and the U for that row. I think we're once again using all the hints, right?
Could be.
Could be crops.
No
It could be cross. No, it can't be cross.
Could not be cross.
Because neither of those positions allows an S. Oh, for fork's sake. Actually, the column doesn't either. Mm-hmm. I was like, both rows don't allow an S, which is true, but the column doesn't either. It's just like, it couldn't be more wrong. It can't be crows either. Because W and S. How are there so many C-R-O-W words? Proft? No, it's still a T. Huh. Croft is the closest I've gotten to getting something that works. I was gonna say Crocs, but we run into the problem that the C there is not loud, and the S is still not a problem. Broke.
Oh, how about Horde? C-H-O-R-D.
Horde with an H.
Yeah.
Horde with an H?
Yeah, like a musical chord.
Oh yeah, Croak would not be loud. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. I'll just guess it.
Sure.
I mean, I suppose it helped. R is not guaranteed.
Definitely did. Yep.
Okay, so we need a C and an R, which we have. The O is correct.
Also, it's stead. That's guaranteed now.
Well, don't you love to know that?
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, right, because yeah. R-E, we have...
legitimizes the R over in the... What is it, fourth column?
Oh, yeah, it's not guaranteed, but it is more likely, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't mean that CRO was in fact correct. And I mean, I felt like I was on something with croak, but the problem is no A's. So in fact, like, most vowels are not exactly welcome there. O-U. True. Food. Boot.
Rook.
Chook. Double O. Chook. Yeah. That works. Out of the 3 spots that O can go into, there are 2. Sure. Crook. That works. I'm not hugely confident in it, on the one hand, on the other hand, it's like, it's not like I have an alternative.
Yeah.
Which makes it Omega, as we said.
Hey.
I love how you were making the O try to work while it's just 2 O's. Words start with K.
Okay, what kind of vowels are allowed there?
In the bottom row?
And second spot.
I and E.
I and E.
I mean, kind comes to mind as a word that starts with K and has an I. It obviously doesn't work in this exact case because it's doesn't have an E there, but and no M's. But yeah, no, it does seem like it would. Oh no, I's in general. I forgot about that. Sorry, so it's just E's.
Or just E's. Right?
Well, or Y, but yeah. So probabilistically, this is what we're saying. Unless
it's
as hell. Yeah. So actually, I don't actually like either all that much. So R and L, right?
Thing.
Was it like cried and creed and it's like those are all C words, not K words.
Yeah.
What else do we have? We still have the. Oh wait, this is guaranteed.
It is.
Yeah, because the row needs it, and this one is already the R.
Yeah, true.
As a matter of fact, we don't have anything from there. I think the other one's not as guaranteed yet, but
Oh yeah, then this R is also guaranteed.
Oh, because in the row it's the only spot to go now. Yeah.
No, in the column.
There's a column. Yes. So sorry, I meant column. I said.
Yeah.
And G could technically still be first, right?
Yep.
Technically.
Yep.
And the row already has its.
But the S is guaranteed.
S is guaranteed, which then also guarantees the G.
Yeah. So it's a surge.
It is surge guaranteed. Cool. But if the S is guaranteed, then the E is guaranteed. And then the L is guaranteed.
Perfect.
Cool. Not actually that helpful. Yeah, no, E is still allowed in both spots for Omega. So that is technically still allowed, and the M and the O were just contextual guesses.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, like, it feels like we should be able to solve some of the other words, maybe, if we can. Like, I know we were, like, trying to figure out the last row, but, like, there are other ones that are only missing just as few letters.
Right?
I feel like central row should be the easiest, theoretically. I don't know if it is, though. It feels like it would be the easiest. Also, no U's or A's, and obviously no I's. Although, I'm not sure if it needs any more vowels either.
Yeah, so basically only E's.
And O's.
Oh yeah, and O's.
Actually, no O's.
Never mind.
There can be O's in a row, but only in the one spot that it already is.
Yeah.
So actually just E's.
Just E's.
And it could be ochre, I guess.
Could be. Nope. No C's in that spot.
No C's in that spot. Damn! I thought I was really smart for a second there. I was like, well, I mean, if it's only E's, it might as well just not be any vowels. It's like ochre. Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay, so we think it is more like E there kind of situation. Pair? No, that's O. Yes, U. Umber. No, it's umber, right?
I don't know.
I don't think hombre. Spanish? Hombre?
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know Spanish.
Well, I mean, it could have found its way into the English dictionary. I don't know. Like, I can believe this. For now. Similar problem where this could only be an E and an I think. With double M, it certainly can't be a consonant.
Yeah.
And I guess it could be Y, but and it can't be A or U or I, so it has to be E, right? Is that what I said I or E earlier, but no I's in the grid, so basically it has to be E then, right?
Yeah, basically.
And then with lemma?
Yeah.
And no A's. No U's or O's. It has to be let me then, right?
Let me, yeah.
Is it let me? I don't love that.
Could be a Y. But that would be awkward.
Don't love that either.
Yeah.
And then this one, second row, is rebut. Another double letter. Bet.
No T's. Not there.
Is rebut a single T or is it two T's?
What?
Is rebut how many T's in rebut?
I think one.
I think rebuttal has two, but I don't know if rebut.
Rebuttal has two. I think rebut has one.
I actually don't know if the bet has two B's to begin with. I mean, just like in terms of what even can go there is a question, right? Because like no P's, I's, H's, N's, or W's just in general.
Yeah.
And like no T's or S's or R's in the row. No G's in the column. Okay, there's not that much of a limitation, but no G's or R's. They mention R's. So, it's like no R's, S's, T's, right? Like all the letters I like to use.
Wait, do we maybe just want to try rebut?
Oh yeah. That's not the E that I was trying to say. That was correct.
Yeah. Also,
I also confirms the B.
Yeah.
Because this row needs one, and this is the only spot that I can still go. Which makes ombre very likely. Or ombre, or whatever. No, wait. Oh, fuck. Ombre is spelled with an H, of course. They're Spaniards and they're spelled H's. But yeah, no, anyways. You were so right. It's just that my explanation for why you might have been right is wrong. Okay. Okay, so wait. Oh, fuck, this one is still technically allowed to be E.
Yep.
I really wanted to make the D solid. It'll be like, yeah, Omega's definitely right. It's like, not right.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so a bet is not something, as we said.
Yep.
So a bez
is
a bed.
A bell something? Sounds like could be a word.
Yes.
Khaled?
Yeah, you don't love it. I don't love it either.
Yeah.
D seems like it could theoretically work.
Yep. Kedded.
And technically, X could work. I doubt it, but it could.
Seems just as likely as the other ones. Like, just as plausible. A bay?
As in EA?
EY.
Oh. Heed?
Yeah. At least makes...
Abby!
Oh.
Another bay. Abby.
Yeah.
I mean, that works. That seems right.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't expecting Keyed, which effectively, I mean, the semi-vowel, right? It's like, there's effectively 3 vowels here. Like, okay. I mean, Rose.
Yep.
Yeah. Typing all the letters helps.
Hey, we win.
It took us long enough.
Yeah.
I think it took us really long. The words were Class Robot, Ombre, Omega, Keyed, Crook, Lemmy, Abby, Serge, and Stead.
Yep.
Let's go to philosophical questions. Let's do like 2 or 3 of them. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
At what point is a technologically enhanced human not a human anymore?
Oh god, kind of weird to answer. It kind of depends on how you define human.
Obviously,
if you define like the consciousness of the person as the human part, or if it's just like the biological thing.
I think we probably have to define human in this case more like I would say more like person, almost, right? Where as long as the consciousness is still human, I think it would still be human. Gets a little tricky about the question of like, if you recreate the consciousness, like if you digitize it, is that still the same consciousness or is it just a copy? That gets a little iffy, especially if you're like, how accurate is the reconstruction, right? But I think as long as, I mean, if the brain is still there, then you assume it's probably still the same person. If you can digitize the consciousness, then maybe that's still the same person. But then you get into the question of like, oh, what if I make a copy? What if there's 2 of them now? I mean, I guess it's still human. They're just like, but not the same person anymore. Like they can't both be the same person as each other, even if they were the same person in the past.
Yeah. But if we tackle it from the like biological side, I guess there's also no clear divide there. Like species evolve all the time, and we only have like ranges. Like, oh yeah, somewhere in there we kind of change the classification from this one species to this other.
I guess if there's no more biological components left, I would be hard pressed to still call it human on like a biological level because there's no trace of human left, right?
Exactly.
But I feel like as long as there's something human still in there, it's like, yeah, the biological part of this is human. Like, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it also kind of depends on like if it's just like if it's the vitals that you replace or if it's just like the periphery.
I was like, It's like, hey, you have a new heart and you have a digital brain.
Yeah.
By all accounts, you're dead.
Yes.
It's like, still human though. I don't know. You're a corpse. Mm-hmm. Congratulations. It's like, yeah.
But like, if someone has like prosthetics for arms and legs.
Yeah, right. It's like
I would call that human still.
Yeah, I mean that's a thing that exists today, and I don't think anyone is really like debating that.
Right.
So
the heart kind of gets a bit iffy, but like there are people today that have like non-biological hearts.
Yeah, and also non-original hearts, right? Like, you get a heart transplant yourself in person, right? I feel like actually in some ways you could just like look at things that exist today and say like we could replace or remove most things about you.
Yeah.
And you would still be considered the same person, right? Like we don't exactly have like camera eyes, but we can definitely take out your eyes and you would still be like if you lose your eyes, no one would not consider you a person anymore, right? Yeah. So like I think we can still like by analogy like replace us with anything. It would be a bit weird if you replace everything. But if you can replace anything, then you can replace everything, right? So the brain is really the only part that we don't really have a modern, but even there, right? Like you can lose parts of your brain and people will still consider you a person or even the same person. So at least parts of the brain you can at least lose.
Yeah, brain, I would still kind of, I don't know, like your body functioning on blood and like being, like using blood as the main mode of transportation for like nutrients and stuff and oxygen. That feels like it kind of probably should be part of it.
For biological definition, maybe.
Yeah. Like, if you only have the brain left, I would find it hard pressed to call that human anymore.
It certainly is a human brain. It certainly would be a human brain.
Yeah, it would be a human brain, but it would be a human.
So this being with a human brain is not a human?
Well, it's just a human brain. It's not a human, not a full human.
Yeah, I'm just saying this human brain is talking and walking around, right? Like it's like I do think the brain is sort of where, and even then, right? Like you could reasonably, I mean, biologically, of course, like if you replace literally everything and there's no organics left, then I don't think you can biologically call it human.
Yeah,
but I think like socially we could still call that a human being. So I think the answer depends on which definition you use, but probably just about anything.
Yeah. Like, I guess for me, it would be like that, like some vitals are still performed by like biological parts.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just the brain, I don't think that would be enough for me to still call it human. But like, at least two, maybe? Like brain and lungs, maybe? I don't know. Brain and heart? Whatever.
Lung and heart?
Lung and heart, yeah.
That works. Yeah.
I mean, you would think some people walk around like that already.
Fair. Does the modern age make global conspiracies more or less feasible?
Probably both in very different ways.
Yeah, right. It's like logistically much more feasible, but also it's a lot harder to hide.
Yeah.
Although I mean, technically, like how many people does it need to be a global conspiracy? Like how many people need to actually be in the know?
Probably not a lot.
Yeah, right. So I guess more, because if we get 5 people together, and we get like one on each continent, and we like
be a global conspiracy,
and we conspire to like I don't know fix oil prices or something.
Yeah.
Like we can do that. As a matter of fact, technically, even if it is out in the public, it's still a conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think more. I think if you want to like keep like a large scale conspiracy hidden, it's harder because it's more easier to leak. But at the same time, the people in the know can be very constrained, and even other people working on behalf of the conspiracy don't have to know that the conspiracy itself is going on.
Yeah. To
like really further it. So I think there is actually, I think there's room to define it in such a way that it is actually easier.
I think so, yeah.
Because again, if we go for like price fixing or something, like as long as you like have all of the market leaders together, you can very easily do that.
Yeah.
And let's do one more. Is technological advancement a net positive or a net negative?
I am fairly certain it's a net positive.
Well, that's until it isn't, right?
Well, until we wipe humans off the face of the earth, at which point it would probably still be a net positive.
Just offense. Okay. No, I'm thinking generally I would say it's a positive, but the tricky things are things like climate change, right? Where it's
yeah.
Now I think at this point we can't say let's stop advancement because most of the mitigation is coming out of advancement, right? Better renewable energy production means that we need to burn less fossil fuels, right? Carbon capture is a new technology that certainly not a solution, but it could be a stopgap, right? And so it sure seems like at this point we're kind of almost too far ahead in the technological advancement to stop, and I don't think you can get people going back either. So
yeah, no. I don't think it would work. We have too much momentum now.
I think it's in a positive, yes. I think it's just that the negatives are very acute in some cases where we have to be aware of them.
Yeah.
It also is tricky because certain things you just kind of like the whole is social media good or bad? It's well, both.
Yeah.
And we still haven't fully caught up with how to deal with the bad parts.
Yes.
I guess it's also the thing, right? The progress itself is almost more neutral. It's just how we use it. I know it's a bit of a... Okay, so the progress...
I don't know about that.
The progress itself gives us tools. Tools are not positive or negative. It depends on how we use them. Because of the progress, we have access to more tools. Having access to more tools gives us the option to do more positive, which is positive, but it also gives us the option to do more negative, which is negative if we make use of it.
Yeah.
But the capacity to do more positive, I think, is good even in the abstract. So, I think it's good.
Yep. There's always more capacity to do good with tools than to do bad.
I don't know if that's true in the terms of the actual capacity being there, but I think even with all the bad stuff we do, we still use it more for good than we do bad. At least, writ large. Which brings us to our final segment.
Right. Let me look up my song because I forgot what it was.
I was gonna say put on your headphones so that you can hear it, but
oh yeah, that as well. Right.
Watch me now suddenly be talking louder or something.
Okay, so my song of the week is Fokusnik by the band Король и Шут.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah. I do recommend you give the band a listen. I've heard a couple of the songs, and I do generally like them quite a bit.
Speaking of bands that we like, there's a band that I like,
and
they're called Hammerfall. And one of their songs is called Dreamland, and it happens to be my song of the week.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much to add.
Well, it was quite an abrupt end.
Yeah, the chorus is technically a bit longer, but I think the first time I cut it, it was 35 seconds, and it's no, that's too much.
That is a bit much. Yeah.
So I figured this is probably the best way I can cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's not about the song as much as it's about just the production of this show. But I mean, Hammerfall is a band that I've quite liked for a while. It's probably the band that really got me into metal. And I feel like I don't think I've had a Hammerfall song. I mean, maybe I did a couple of weeks back and I just don't remember it very well. But I think it's been a while. And so I was like, you know what? It's time. And this one is one that I didn't have before. And I was listening to it and I was like, that'll work. And so that's my song of the week.
Definitely works. Yeah.
Which brings this episode of the Trash Talk Podcast to a close. If you want us to No. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe if you haven't already yet. If you have something to say, leave a comment or join us. The Discord server link is in the description below. So, okay.
That's it.
That's it.